This is a Power 98.7 podcast. Now we're talking. Subscribe to Power 98.7 podcasts in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. There's more on power987.co.za.
The Future of Cities is proudly brought to you by Ndiso Consulting Group, empowering institutions that enable Africa's development.
Okay, it's time for us to talk smart cities. You know, a few weeks ago we heard about budget allocations and disbursements from National Treasury to the local government, and then how you break down the money that's coming through. And also we've seen a few recent audit reports coming through, and literally only about 41 or so municipalities with clean audits. And then we're hearing about disputes between municipalities in Gauteng, needing to pay for services from electricity to their own municipal services as well. So sourcing money into a city is a really, really challenging thing. And with Ndiso Consulting, we're going to find out what creative and innovative solutions can be employed to get more money into our municipalities so that they can invest in the things we've been talking about over the last few weeks. Better infrastructure, better services, and new build projects to make the cities more durable and future centric. We're joined today by Trevor Mupeti, who is the MD for Ndiso Revenue Consulting, and he's going to break down for us what different municipal revenue models look like and what functions they serve in our city. So Trevor, always great to have the team from Ndiso, and thank you very much for coming through. This is going to be like a 101 lecture, I believe, on revenue models, because I think we just look at our municipalities and we think, they've got money, I pay my rates and taxes, I pay my electricity bill. What do they mean they've got no money?
True. Good morning to you, Lerato. Thank you for having me on your show, and good morning to the Power family. Revenue is actually the lifeline of any organization, be it business, irrespective of size. Go to a municipality, irrespective of size. You talk of a local municipality to a metro. All those entities need revenue to drive their operations. Yeah. And especially where we now center on the municipalities, where they have got a mandate to deliver service to the residents and the consumers. It then becomes a serious touch point, especially in this current economic conditions that we are actually faced with, global pandemic and all. Municipalities actually find it then difficult to actually accumulate revenue that is adequate to fund their budgets. So in regards to the revenue streams that municipalities have, they're actually categorized into three. Yeah. Where we've got the first one is your equitable share, right, where each municipality, each province actually gets an allocation from, the tax revenue that is collected by the government, and this equitable share is actually used to fund your capex budget. This is where municipalities, they are able to then pay for subsidies for your indigent consumers within the jurisdiction of the municipality. Then you also have your grants, which are then used to fund your capital projects. These fund your capex, where the municipality goes out and does all your infrastructure development projects. You talk of road construction, you talk of building a new reservoir. These are the funds that are actually utilized in the municipality. And then the major one then becomes the own revenue that the municipality actually generates.
Okay, so we've heard about the other two. We got a brilliant interview 2 weeks ago on this one. But this is now what we don't understand, the own revenue. Why is it difficult for municipalities to go out there and fundraise?
Okay, Lerati, in regards to those ones, we have further categorized our own revenue in municipalities into three distinct categories. The one is your major, the second one is your minor, and then I'll want to talk to the innovative as we go along with this discussion.
So what's the major? What do we mean by that?
So when you talk of the major, most municipalities would have the 5 key resources or key streams that they'll build consumers. The first and foremost is your property rates and taxes. This you find in each and every municipality, be it a Makai, be it a metro, because the reason why I'm actually then throwing these two is just to give you
a perspective,
as a perfect, comparison. It's from A to point Z, where we include all the other municipalities, the districts. Some of the municipalities actually then offer, out of those 5 services, you've got your property rates and taxes, you've got your water, electricity, sanitation, and refuse. Yeah. So some municipalities do not offer your water, electricity, and sanitation, but will be able to then assist or rather collect on these other two streams, which is your property rights and your refuse.
And so this is why when we hear municipalities sort of struggling and almost begging people to please pay for your services, because it's affecting their ability to collect a major proportion of their own revenue.
100%. You're on the money, Lerato, in regards to that. And now you look at the other alternatives that are actually now coming out into the market. You talk of energy. A lot of people are actually now pushing to go off the grid. So that will then mean municipalities' revenues would also then see a decrease as well. So hence our drive that we now need to come up with innovative strategies of collecting revenue. The second one, before I move on to the innovative part, the second one, Lerato, is your minor. Right. In as much as we might call them your minor revenues, these include your licenses, your fines, the hire of amenities, and development levies and ambulances. That's why we then term them your minor, because they are not as guaranteed as your property rates.
Right.
Yes, they're incidental, if I want to put it in that way.
As you're talking like this, I'm thinking, what do you mean an ambulance? What is the income tax for? That then, my tax, your tax, then goes towards the health department, education, etc., and you must still pay for a service like an ambulance. Is there anything South Africans don't pay for?
Well, unfortunately, municipalities need to be run as a business. Yeah. And the moment we don't realize value out of these services that we offer, we are not going to be able to offer these services in future. So that's why we actually have to pay for these services. Okay,
let's talk about the innovative funding revenue models. What constitutes innovation when we're talking money in this way?
Okay, we are looking at future cities. And one of the touch points that I'd like to drive home is the reason why we are sitting in this current situations as municipalities in regards to revenue is the main focus has been on these 2 traditional revenue streams that I've mentioned.
Yeah.
And now going forward, we then actually need to ensure that we unlock value in other revenue streams for the municipality. I'll give you an example of one that we're actually pushing for, which talks to the commercialization of broadband. Yes. Instead of the municipality just providing wavelengths to your big, data companies that are actually rolling out fiber in different regions in the province, the municipality can actually have discussions with the service providers that they can actually get, for example, a 10% stake in the whole exercise, whereby the municipality will then be able to now distribute this broadband, this Wi-Fi, because where we are going with the 4th industrial revolution upon us, we definitely see our broadband, our Wi-Fi as a key. It's actually going to be a need rather than a want, where we're actually going with the digitization in the world.
And what do you mean when you say, we know what you mean by Wi-Fi, but what do you mean by kind of a mass availability of Wi-Fi? Is that if people are sitting on buses, they should just be able to log on?
Correct.
If you're sitting in the hospital, you shouldn't be looking for a password. You should just immediately be able to get onto a system.
Exactly.
On a train.
If you look at how Wi-Fi is actually being rolled out, fiber is actually being rolled out right now. It is actually in the same line with your water and sewer services. So this is where I'm actually driving this conversation that at the end of the day, it now becomes a service that the municipality can actually add on top of the 5 key drivers of revenue within the municipality. Because if you now look at what happened with the pandemic, people are now working from home, kids were learning from home, and everyone. There actually was a surge in the demand of these services. So this is the future, and the municipalities now need to strategize and look at such revenue streams. You look at recycling. Instead of the municipalities just providing a truck to go and pick up our refuse, let's be innovative and start recycling. Instead of providing our consumers with one refuse a bin, rather give them 2 or 3 that they can actually sort your refuse before they pick it up. And the municipalities can now start generating other revenue streams in the process. There's a lady in my neighborhood who's actually has done that, and I've actually seen the practicality of this. That should actually drop specific different color paper. We are all used to the black bins. She'll drop a yellow paper, plastic bag that she requests, please can you just put your paper in here, and this is a blue one, please can you put your plastic, and at the end of the week they come and pick it up. And so, it's some stuff that municipalities can start looking at.
Okay, so better waste management, innovation around waste management. But when the municipality starts recycling, what are they going to do with the recycled product? Where's the value add for them?
They now then go into partnership with your mondis of this world who are already in that space, and then in that way they actually realize another revenue stream.
Okay, yes. So providing services for recycling businesses to utilize the infrastructure of the municipality to gather what is now their own raw material.
Exactly.
Okay, I got it. You referenced energy, and this is a very contentious one. But you spoke about it in terms of if people are going off the grid, it's going to mean there's one very critical revenue source that the municipality will lose. And some people say rightly so, because frankly, we don't even have electricity at the moment. But energy is a very important component to industry, manufacturing, and productivity of an economy. And the municipality has to do this thing better. What does better look like as we talk a future city?
Okay, thank you, Lerato, for that one. What better looks like is the municipality being able, not just being a distributor, but being able to generate their own energy. And already Cape Town has started. Yes. Joburg is also in line to also, start the whole process. This is where we are actually going. And you've actually raised a very, very interesting point. And I would actually want to couple this with our own, Elon Musk is busy with the electric vehicles. Yeah. This is where the future is going. Yeah. So municipalities, right now, where they are sitting as distributors, they can also look at expanding into providing, your charging booths.
Yes.
Because this is where we are going. Electric vehicles are reality. Okay. So these are some of the innovative ideas that we now need to throw into the market, and municipalities start building infrastructure in targeting the future.
And decentralizing the grid away from a central player, an ESCOM, and bringing it to the local level, because actually the municipality knows where, or should know where, all their citizens are.
Correct.
And what they need and what their capacities and consumption is.
Correct.
Okay. How much of infrastructure and funding for infrastructure is an important part of this conversation when we talk innovation?
Yeah, well, it becomes critical, and the good thing is you've got players in the space already that the municipality can actually partner with. And I'm sure we actually spoke about the available funding models that are in the market. This is where municipalities can actually partner with these providers.
I'm speaking about it in terms of, you saying think outside the box, right? So you're a municipality, you're supposed to provide basic services, and infrastructure is not just bridges and roads and schools. You spoke about rolling out, Wi-Fi, and infrastructure that can be leveraged, CCTV cameras, for instance, in utilizing them with the Department of Safety and Security, for instance.
Correct.
So are they thinking about what they have as an asset to leverage and then to start generating new funds? Do municipalities think like that here?
That's the tone we want to set with future cities. That's the drive that we actually want to ensure that future cities lie in the expansion and innovation of sustainable revenue streams. So this is where we actually want to drive this conversation to. But in the same breath, Lerato, we also don't want to totally shun away from our traditional ways of collection, or rather revenue streams. We have actually come up with a model as Ntiso Consulting that talks to five pillars that you need to satisfy in a municipality in regards to your revenue. And in this one, in this model, we actually pick up your revenue leakages. You talk of your. I did start with rates and taxes, property rates and taxes being our key driver, right? But the moment you have a disintegration between your valuation row, your SG records, and your building system, you're actually sitting with what? With revenue leakages. So we actually need to tighten what we currently have and innovate for the future in regards to other revenue streams.
Okay, we'll continue on this tack. We're in conversation with Trevor Mupeti, who is the MD of Ndiso Revenue Consulting. It's the Future of Cities campaign, and we are focused on municipal revenues. You know, the stuff that we see, that we think we understand, but also the nuances as well as to how municipalities raise money and utilize money. It's Power Talk.
Thought-provoking conversations with Lerato Mbele, 9 a.m. to midday.
We're in conversation with Trevor Mupeti, who is the MD, Managing Director of Ndiso Revenue Consulting. It is part of the Ndiso Consulting Group's campaign for future cities, as we look at how to run municipalities better, how to use revenues better, and how to invest for future, smarter, greener, cleaner, functional cities. Moahi in Mabopane, you've got a question you'd like to raise.
Hey, Lerato, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. Go ahead.
And the brother there. I've been listening as somebody who's concerned about the direction our country is taking. And I read that in as much as the brothers share beautiful things, there is always one thing that South Africa doesn't want to address, and this is service excellence. I've not heard the brother speak about that part, because I'll tell you one reason that makes most of South Africans not to be compliant with paying. I mean, those who can afford, why are they not paying? The reason is because you report an incident with the municipality, with ESCOM or with whoever. Yes, I've been fighting with Tony to fix my issue 12 years, and I'm paying every month. And nothing is happening. So I know a lot of people who decide not to pay a municipality because municipality doesn't care in terms of service excellence, just solving ordinary programs. So the brother talks about innovation, talks about systems and processes and models, but none of them talks about the real problem, which is getting South Africans to understand we're working for South Africa and we want to make our country better. But for as long as, especially leadership in the country.
Ndate Moahi, your line is really, really poor, but we get the gist of it. Service excellence, the quality of service. I think I have to concur there. It's really painful to pay for a service you can barely receive. Refuse collection, electricity in the country. So just consider that as we think future cities. What can be implored on the municipalities to do better? Fanele and Braamfontein.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to ask a gentleman there in studio. Now that big metros, they want to generate their own electricity. And I think that will relieve some pressure from ESCOM. Maybe it's going to help them to be able to supply to more people in the country. But that is not going to collapse ESCOM in terms of the revenue, because I'm thinking that if that's where they generate most of their revenue from big metros.
Okay. Thanks so much for that question, Fanele. And Tsepo in Veltefieren Park.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Very interesting topic. I'm very, very excited to hear the points your guest is raising. But my concern is one. I'm in a waste management space. I actually want to claim that I currently have a technology that would clear landfills 100%. But we're finding challenges when we engage with municipalities. It's either maybe it's our lack of understanding of how these municipalities function in terms of engaging new technologies, or it is just that we're getting a perception that some of these projects are sort of a reserve for either politically connected or certain people. I would like to engage further with your guest. Hopefully, if he agrees that he can get my contact and we get in touch, because we do have solutions. We know what the problems are, but I don't think currently anything in South Africa is broken because of it can't be fixed. Yeah. It is just the political willingness and the powers that be. We all know what happens. Okay. We report cases on daily basis. We do everything that we can as citizens, but the politicians are the actual problems, and this is why we're sitting where we're sitting.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Tsepo. Sitati and Snetemba, if you could just take Tsepo's number down so that we can pass it on to Ndiso Consulting. So, Trevor, quite a few varied views there. The first one from Muachi, very quickly. Why should people pay for services they're not receiving? The quality of those services is not good. Municipalities are not responsive. So if the municipalities say they're struggling with revenue collection, they should look internally first at the quality of the services.
Yes, thanks, Loretto. In regards to this one, it's actually one of our touch points as well in regards to our maturity model. We talk of customer centricity, and some of these issues are actually raised and resolved in these platforms. We've got a serious drive in regards to consumer education and awareness, and these are the platforms that would want to utilize and address these issues. When we have an activation, we actually go out with a full team from the municipality, talk of your billing team, talk of your technical team, and resolve issues that we can resolve while you're on site.
The second question was from Fanele, and he said, now that big metros are looking at ways to take over generation and not just distribute electricity but make it, especially with IPPs, it's going to collapse Eskom. Not our problem, but basically what that's going to do is it's going to deny revenues to some municipalities that still rely on Eskom for their generation as well, because not everybody can generate their own energy right now.
Yes, well, this drive one wouldn't expect it to happen overnight. And it is a gradual phase in regards to capacity of, the municipalities that can actually move in the space. And this also demonopolizes some of these services, if I'm to put it in that way. And you never know. Prices are actually going to become cheaper as well. Because if you've got more suppliers in the market, there's definitely going to be competition rather than one, entity supplying the whole country with the service.
Then waste management, and this gentleman Tsepo says he thinks he's got a technology that could clear landfill, but you need political connections. These municipalities are highly politicized and rent-seeking.
Well, on that one, I wouldn't want to delve deep into the political side of the issue that was raised here. What I would actually want, since he has pledged that he wants our number to take this conversation further, would actually be able to then direct him in the right way in regards to you submitting an unsolicited proposal. Definitely someone will go through it, and if they like the idea, they'll actually run with. So these are the innovative thinking that we are looking for the future cities. Yes.
And the municipality should be open to it as well.
Definitely.
Okay, and then Butzolani, who's very passionate about local government, says something that municipalities need to get right is integrated revenue management. Revenue management isn't only a CFO's responsibility.
I fully concur and support Butzolani in regards to that. We are in a global village, and we actually, within a municipality, all departments need to come together and ensure that revenue is driven from all fronts. The finance side of the business collects the revenue, but the infrastructure is sitting with the infrastructure department. So that's why we actually need a collective effort from all departments within the municipalities to actually drive the revenue for the cities.
Trevor Mupeti, as you can see, this has been stimulating and interesting, and we thank you so much for coming through and being with us in the Power 98.7 studio. Trevor Mupeti is the MD of Ndiso Revenue Consulting, speaking to us about different models for innovative financing at municipal level. Once those tariffs and property rates and levies have been paid, once you've paid your traffic fines, where does all this money go? It could go towards more productive endeavours that make the municipality work better. It's been our Future Cities campaign for today's edition with Ndiso Consulting.
The Future of Cities was proudly brought to you by Ndiso Consulting Group, empowering institutions that enable Africa's development.
You've been listening to a Power 98.7 podcast. For more podcasts, visit power987.co.za or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.